What's going on, guys? It's Kyle again with DTOM Knives and Gear, and today we are going to be taking a look at a new Finch knife product. This is the Finch Holiday. Man, was I surprised by this thing. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back, everybody. The Finch Holiday. Now, quick little history about me and Finch. I have actually handled quite a few Finch knives. Not all of them, I don't think. I might have now. This one was sent to me by my brother, Lefty EDC. Kevin and I are the best of friends. Speaking of that, we are going to have our live stream tonight. I'm posting this the day of our live stream. It's going to be tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. So definitely check that out. It's going to be a lot of fun. And but yeah, that's when that's going to happen. Come on, camera. People are giving me a hard time about this. And so Finch Knife Company, I've had the Takuna, I've had on the channel, the Takuna, the Rutley, the 1929, and now, is there any other ones? Now the Holiday and the Cimarron. Both of those were sent to me by Lefty EDC. Now, I have always really liked the Finch products. The thing is, for me, is I've got really big hands, and most of those models are relatively small. I absolutely love the 1929. However, it's a lot smaller than this. This is a doable size for me, and I was very excited to be able to get this in hand. I want to try to show a picture of the 1929. Spencer, if you're watching, I would love a 1929 this size, or maybe even a little bit bigger. Holy moly, would that be freaking awesome. But speaking of Spencer, Spencer is the guy behind a lot of Finch knives and sending knives to reviewers and whatnot. He's been a really good part of the community, very generous gentleman. He has sent knives to Jake over at Bearded Gear for his giveaway. He's just a really super cool dude. I have not personally talked to him. I might have talked to him once on Instagram, but just a really great guy. And it's an American-based company out of Kansas, but they are made overseas. Some of them are made by QSP, which like this one is, and some of them are made by Best Tech. Two great OEMs as far as the overseas OEMs, excuse me, and I think they do a great job. They have done a really good job with all of Finch products, and so that doesn't bother me one bit. Like I said, they're based out of Kansas, so I love still supporting an American-based company, even though the knives are made overseas. People have a lot of problems with that. I get it. To each their own. I don't have a problem with that because I am still supporting an American company, and the knives that they are getting out and they're producing and designing are just, they are killing it. Okay, now like I said, most of the designs have been a little small for me. The Takuna it's like the mini machete. That's what Lefty called it. That one was, not that bad as far as size. This one, not only does the size, it's still small for me, but it's doable. I carry this actually as a primary and then a backup a couple of days, but most of the time I actually carried it as a primary, and it does fine for a primary. It is just there on the cusp of being the right size for me in a primary. But not only that, guys, this is the snappiest damn thing I have handled in a while. The action on this knife is so much fun. You guys know me, if it is just a flipper tab deployment, I get bored. And it's this knife, the same thing. I would get bored if I had just a flipper all the time. But I'm a knife collector, and I've got quite a few knives. To pick a flipper to have in the collection that's just flipper only, this one is very hard for me not to choose that. I do have other flipper knives that are flipper only, but this one is about as snappy as you can get without being assisted. Like, that's what it feels like. And the access to this bolster lock, I love a bolster lock. I'm really becoming more of a fan of a bolster lock. It's so easy to move out of the way, like hardly any resistance. And then, of course, the closing action, I love it. I really didn't think I was going to love it as much as I did, but I do. It makes great sounds. Oh, the snap behind it is just It sounds amazing. If some people are like, who cares what the knife sounds? I do. I care how the knife sounds, and this one does it for me, guys. It really does. This one is in the snakewood. Now, they have a couple of different options. They have micarta, black micarta. They have white oxbone, and I guess different colors of micarta, and I think they even have some G10. So you get quite a few options to whatever your preference is, right? I absolutely love the snakewood. This one to me is a modern traditional because that's what it looks like to me. But it has a flipper tab. It's not a slip joint. It's not a back lock. It is using 154 cm steel, which I like. 154 cm. I think it is an excellent user steel. And for the price, you're paying about $130. I think that's fair. You do have steel liner or steel frame rather, and you do have a titanium pocket clip. That's a nice touch. I like the way titanium is like more forgiving than steel as a pocket clip, and the pocket clip is nailed. I love this pocket clip. Okay, so it's not, full deep carry like a lot of people like, but I'm telling you, for a 3D milled pocket clip, it sits about as deep as you can ask for. And it works amazing. I loved carrying this knife, going in and out of pocket. It really does well. I think it looks good. It's one of the best pocket clips that I think is kind of a mixture between deep carry, great retention, and looks good, because that's the kind of the trio there of what you really are trying to, when you're trying to design a pocket clip, kind of give and take there, right? I think they did an excellent job. This is definitely the one I would pick with the snakewood because I just think it's sexy looking. And it's called the Holiday, right? And it's named after Doc Holliday. That's one of my... Val Kilmer is the best Doc Holliday. Fight me. I love Tombstone. It is absolutely one of my favorite movies. I can watch it every day and not get bored. So the fact that this is called The Holiday also speaks to me because I love Doc Holliday, and I'm glad that they actually, used that as influence to design the knife. It just is superb. This side you will see just has Finch. This side 154 cm and The Holiday. That does have the loom. So on the crest, which I think looks really, really classy, that is a loom, so you can charge it up and it will glow in the dark. It's not something that I really care about because I never use that feature, but it's something that's cool that they're throwing into their knives. My son loves that feature, so he's a big fan. Me, I could take it or leave it. It doesn't really appeal to me or gets my juices flowing, as a feature. But as you can see, it's very boxy. So it's a very neutral handle size, right? Or a handle style. But the fact that it's boxy, they did an excellent job of rounding every corner. There is no sharp corners on this guy anywhere. It is very comfortable in hand because it's neutral. Now, because of my big hands, I barely get my 4 fingers on there and I still feel cramped when I'm trying to. But it's still big enough for me to feel comfortable to use. The jimping on this guy is done very well. I like the way they've done the jimping, if I can get the focus. However, my thumb still rides up here, so I don't really use the jimping. So I could either take it or leave it. But the side of the blade also has some, the edges knocked down on the back. So, dude, this thing looks like a hand-rubbed satin. I don't think it is. But that is a beautiful satin blade. It looks hand-rubbed to me. I doubt that they did that, but however they're doing it, it works. It's kind of similar to the 1929 that I also liked. I really like that blade shape as well. This blade shape, holy moly. All right, so it's a little bit different than your standard drop point, right? But this is a very utilitarian blade. I found cutting with this was very, very useful. This nice point that you get, it's not like dainty, but it's not thick either, but it does perfectly for getting into packages, like clamshell packages, stuff like that. And they put an excellent factory edge on this guy, and it cuts really well. Let's go ahead and do some cuts with cardboard. No resistance. I mean, this thing is a slicey little guy. Let's go ahead and do some paracord. No resistance. It is a cutter, guys. It comes down to about 17 thousandths behind the edge. And with this flat grind but very narrow blade, that's impressive. As far as a tool, which these, of course, knives are tools, This works amazing. It's very well built. You're not going to have to worry about, now I wouldn't use this for hard use, you know, going out there in the woods and blah, blah, blah. Now it can probably handle it. That's not what I would use this knife for. For an EDC companion, this really hits it out of the park. It's not my usual cup of tea as far as the size, the traditional style, but I like this. I love what Finch Knife Company is doing with this, using, you know, traditional style knives, using modern materials, and then actually producing them in a way that's really fun. Even though it's a flipper only, it is such a fun knife to carry. I love it. Now, like I said, it's not really big. We're going to go ahead and get behind the camera, get some size comparisons, and get you a closer look at this beautiful snakewood and compare it to other EDC size smaller knives that I have in my collection that I do enjoy. All right, let's get a good look at this. Look at that snakewood. And like I said, they have the Oxbone, micarta, G10, a bunch of different options. So whatever you like, you can basically get. These polished steel bolsters and or frame of the knife is done so well. Just very, very nice on the polishing. There is your flipper tab. The flipper tab is just done really, really well because, like I said, it is one of the snappiest things, and it actually allows you to kind of choke up on the knife. I didn't find myself doing that, even though usually I like a forward finger control or a little area right here. I just didn't find myself doing it quite that much because I was just holding it like this in a regular saber grip, and I know that's weird because I usually always do this if I can, but I just didn't find myself doing it a whole lot. So, but look at this pocket clip. God, I love this pocket clip. It really does work well. I am so glad that they went with this design because I think it aesthetically looks beautiful on this knife and it works so well. Really, really well. Does have like T6 almost on everything except for the pivot. This pivot might be T8. So, you know, be careful taking this thing apart. I'm not going to take it apart. Definitely dead centered. Just a really well-built knife that surprised the hell out of me. And now I'm basically going to probably have to get one of these. But it's one of those things when I get a knife on for review and I'm really excited about it, sometimes it's still not good enough for me to actually purchase because I've already experienced it. And with the channel, there's always knives coming in and out. So we'll have to see, but definitely this is the Finch knife for me. That is for sure. Now let's go ahead and put it up against some other ones. Here is the Cimarron, and as you can see, it's even bigger. So that makes me happy. There is going to be a full review on this guy coming up soon, but there you go. This is the two newest models from Finch Knife Company. And these are my two favorites as of right now. The 1929 is a favorite of mine. If we could get that 1929 to be this big or a little bit bigger, holy moly, Spencer, do it. Do it, Spencer. But there you go. Another one of my favorite smaller knives. This is the Ferrum Forge Stinger. Very similar in size. The ergonomics on the Stinger are a lot better for me because it does have the forward finger control. Very thin. This is a lot thinner. And, you know, some people were actually saying that they thought this was too thick, and the thickness of this guy makes it more comfortable in my hand. It fills my hand out more. If it was thinner, I don't think it would. So I like the fact that the scales are a little bit thicker. Let's go ahead and give you, see how much thicker that is compared to the Stinger. But I like that. I think that is a good feature because it fills my hand out much better than a thinner knife. Go ahead and put it up against the Spyderco Para 3. Very similar in overall size. And then one of my other all-time favorite smaller knives to carry, here it is against the Quiet Carry Waypoint. So as you can see, not small, not, you know, but not too small. You know what I'm saying? It's just right there at the cusp. These knives are about the smallest that I want to carry, and I can sacrifice a little bit if it has a forward finger control. But these knives right here, very similar. So if you know about these, you'll know about the size of the Finch Knife Co. Holiday, and it's just a really well put together knife. QSP does an excellent job in their manufacturing for this thing, and I just could not be happier. I just think it works. Now, the actual dimensions of this thing is 7.2 inches overall. It's got a 3.15 inch blade length, a handle length of 4 inches, a blade height of about 3/4. But like I said, with it even being just 3/4, the flat grind coming down to 17 thousandths behind the edge makes this thing a slicing dream. It is about 115 thousandths thick, so still very thin blade stock, not the thinnest I've seen, but still thin blade stock, and that beautiful satin job or satin finish that they do on this. Let me get a better look at that. Oh, does not that look hand rubbed to you? It does to me. Let's go ahead and put it up against a hand rub. The one that I know is hand rub here. So we have a hand rub satin on this Custom Knife Factory 523. A beautiful hand rub satin. Look at that. And then look at this. I mean, it's similar and it looks hand rub. I can't get over how they did that, because I'm sure it's not, because the price doesn't reflect it. Because $130. Now, would I like to see this, a little cheaper? Possibly, I would. But I think it's a fair price for what you're getting, because I mean, if it wasn't put together as good as it was, obviously I wouldn't say that. But $130. Would I like to see it maybe at about 110? Yeah, I would. This one is $90, and it's still one of my all-time favorites, even though it's Nitro V steel, which I do like. It has a flipper, and it also has a fuller that I can do the reverse flick. So ergonomically and just functionality, this knife wins it, and it won it for the best knives under $100 of 2020 for me. But it's funner for me, the Stinger, because I can open it in different ways. But this one is a very close comparison. Even though it's only a flipper, the action on this is so much fun. It makes the noises that I like. I can't get over the surprise that I had on this knife when I got it in my hand. I really appreciate Kevin for sending it to me. I told him that I really wanted to take a look at this, and Finch Knife Company is just killing it, and I appreciate everything that they do. Even though I don't own any of their knives, I have liked every single one that I have handled, okay? The size might not be my cup of tea, but functionally, aesthetically, they just are beautiful. And especially this one. This is my favorite Finch knife right now. So, guys, I appreciate you stopping by and checking this out. I will have Finch Knife Co. linked down in the description. Of course, Lefty EDC will also be linked down in the description. Definitely go check him out on Instagram and on YouTube. The guy is just amazing. He does really good content, and he is my brother. Guys, stay safe in this crazy world we are living in, and we will see you in the next one.